Today we are going to delve into some history and learn about the women's suffrage movement from 1848 to 1920 in the new game Votes for Women. Hope you'll join us for this reboxing here today on Legendary Tactics. Votes for Women is by Fort Circle Games, and I've always been very impressed with their components. I have Shores of Tripoli as well, which is their game, and you can see the very nice mounted board here. I like the color scheme. It's a bit muted, which aesthetically is very nice. I'm here with my daughter actually, and we're going to be reboxing this game for you today so you can get a look at the components. Now there's lots of neat historical documents that are found in this game, and they have a weird magnetic kind of thing that goes on with them. But anyway, they've got a compiled, it's one of those things which is completely supplementary to the game itself. It's not something that's actually necessary for the game, but it's nice to have just from a historical perspective, even though they slide around all over the place. It's really neat to kind of go through these old documents, and the history is presented pretty honestly. There's not much of an attempt to make it more sanitized in any way, which is great. It's neat to learn about this history, both the good and the bad parts of it. So I always find we always at Legendary Tactics, when we rebox things, we always put the counters back in their little frames. We just find it works really well as for storage, and you can just always pop them out just before playing them again, playing the game again, and just turn the box over and lock it in. You can see some more historical documents. There's some other information there about the women's movement there, and it's such an interesting game in the sense that this is not something I would have ever imagined a game covering, and I really like how companies like Fort Circle are actually taking on topics that are a little bit off the beaten path. We don't need any World War II Germany versus Russia games. I think that's been gamed out, and we need to open up to new topics and new history. So yeah, there's, as I said, lots of historical supplements just for interest and for flavor, and to maybe decorate your gaming table with as you're playing Votes for Women. The game itself is very similar in feel to 1960, The Making of the President by GMT. The designer indicates that influence in the supplementary booklets here, and my daughter's just flipping through that now. There's some neat twists on the game mechanics, and I'll be doing some more videos on this at a later point to sort of highlight that. But it's a very compact rule book. The pages you actually need to play the game, it's about maybe 4.5 pages or so. So not too intense, and it's very, very playable, very, very accessible, which I really like a lot. And I just find it's when you're cleaning up the pieces, it's always better to just hold the bag near them and just vacuum them up, and it's just so much easier than putting them back in by hand. And you can see my daughter has become quite accomplished at this technique of packing away the game pieces. Just spreads everything out, and we get a new perspective on it here, and just sucks everything back into the Ziploc bags. The components are all nice wooden pieces. I like the wooden cubes, of course, are pretty standard, but I like there's some wooden X's and check marks, and you have all these campaigners as well. Way more than you need, but it's kind of nice because you can customize your set a little bit when you're playing. And once you're done, just put all those bags back into the big Ziploc bag for easy storage. Now there's lots of cards in this game. There's the Suffragist deck, which has the event cards played by the suffragist side, And I find in this game it's interesting, having played a lot of 1960. In this game, I find the events are quite powerful, and most times you're likely going to be taking them as opposed to doing actions. But it's interesting, and the interplay is really good. There's the opposition deck, and there's also some states, some state cards, which can give you abilities if you are the first to win support for your cause in a given state. So it kind of gives you some geographical interest in where you want to place your campaigners and that sort of thing. And then there's some strategy cards, and there's also this other deck here is for solo play. It's the Oppobot or Oppobot or whatever they call it. But it's the opponent, and I've played a solo game or two, and it's a reasonably good AI, I guess you could call it. It plays pretty well, and I always recommend wrapping these back in the shrink wrap to keep the dust off and just keep everything nice and organized for your next game session. And we'll just put these all back in the box here. And now we just have all the dice. Now we'll just suck all these back up into the Ziploc bag. But you can see there's a lot of dice. And I would say that you don't need that many dice. However, it is really nice to have them. I don't regret having that many dice in a game at all. It's really nice because something about just rolling a handful of dice is just such a visceral pleasure. So we're going to put the game box back inside the shrink wrap, as we like to do here in our reboxing videos. And it's just a little flick of the wrist, and you can have it back as good as new. So this is Votes for Women by Fort Circle Games, and we'll be doing some more content on this. But do check it out. It is a fun game, and there's a lot to it. This is Legendary Tactics.